Today, I don't really feel like I need to convince anyone anymore of Letby's innocence. I think we're sort of there now, and the reversal of the conviction is just going to be a matter of course, a formality now. So I'm not going to um, go into too much about debunking this and debunking that, because I could spend hours and hours, there having been so much, so many transcripts of the prosecution's case to analyse, plus a lot of the stuff of the Thirlwall inquiry, plus people's commentary on said things that I could go into. So I don't really want to be bogged down in that too much. But I just want to sort of talk about the future and like the division that this has caused, and just generally, who was there, who put their head above the parapet, like Sir David Davis, and can we go back to trusting the system? I mean, it wasn't long ago, September the 11th. This is the BBC. Well, I think they're quoting the lawyer. Anyone questioning Letby's guilt should be ashamed. Family's lawyer tells Inquiry. Wow, I should be ashamed of myself. Okay. Like it was only a year ago, just after she got convicted. I've got here Talk TV. I have to say, they were covering it fairly evenly. They had people talking on both sides. But it was around the time when the fundraiser was launched, and there were other, I'm sure there were other like Good Morning Britain things where people like expressed their disgust at the whole thing. Well, what it was, the Science on Trial were doing a little fundraiser, but actually mostly Science on Trial were just looking for experts in neonatology and things in the field. I don't think they particularly had a big fundraiser drive. I don't actually think they really needed it, because a lot of people in the science medical community offered their services for free. I think human beings have a natural want to correct the record, as it were. If I put a spelling mistake down somewhere, someone couldn't, they won't be able to help but correct it. If I get a year wrong or something, you just want to always get the facts right. And I think especially people in the science and medical community are prone to that as well. But I just want to, talk about the division. Like I said, this lady was talking about how it was only circumstantial evidence. But listen to this.
I think the person who is launching this campaign is the biggest idiot in the UK. Absolutely, and I think it's.
They're American.
Oh,
Yeah,
well, there you go. Then they're
the
definitely idiots. They're American. No offence, Mike. I used to live over there. But
I'm not American.
It's an offence to the lives that were lost and the parents. There's no way this should ever come back again, and she should get an appeal. Like, it's done. Just because you don't agree with what the verdict was doesn't mean that you're right.
Also, I'm not sure that there are
I mean, can I ever forgive this guy for saying that? I mean, if the jury got it wrong, so we should leave her in jail. Okay, interesting. I don't know. can I ever? How can we mend this division for those who, not just this guy, but just generally, people who thought, as a general rule, not everyone, but a lot of people who initially thought she was guilty, might have said something about her evil, blah blah, to actually get them to change, to actually get somebody to change their mind. It's almost impossible, and you're almost gonna. It's been such a civil divide. Some people are just never gonna think that she's innocent, and I don't know how we can ever reconcile that. I mean, I want some people's head on a stick, you know. Liz Hull, of course, of Ghouls and Misfit fame. Can I forgive her? I don't think I can, after her slander of we know she did this, we know she did that, after Liz Hull was actually at the trial, covering the trial, when we didn't know anything. I don't think I can forgive her. I said I don't really want to go into detail about disproving this or that, and people's commentary, but one of the things that I hear quite often, people say about the 10 months.
Say, I don't like the way that
About the
interpreted.
10-month trial.
Like
as Esther said, the reason
Yeah.
it took 10 months was because they knew that these
Yeah.
criticisms would be,
All right.
so they needed to get a more collective body of,
All right.
of it.
Yeah, so I mean, just generally, I'll show you here on the old, someone on the Daily Mail, one of the comments, and I've heard this quite a lot. So someone said, what is the purpose of this, given that the trial appears to have been one side in there and may have been a miscarriage of justice? Talk about the Thelwall inquiry, what's the purpose of that? And one person has replied saying, if you concentrate on one bit of evidence, which is what some in the press have been doing, and ignore all the rest, then yes, it looks like that Lucy could be innocent, but she's not. The weight of the whole evidence is overwhelming, and police are investigating more. Looks like she harmed babies, not even covered by her trial. Blah blah blah. Okay. I hear people say this quite a lot. Whenever you cross one thing off the list and say, you know, Dr. Dewey Evans' testimony, his method of alleged murder has been disproved. The issue with the note has been disproved. Whenever you disprove something, you get thrown at you. Yeah, but there was loads of stuff. There's loads of stuff. Well, what actually was there? When they say loads of stuff and that the trial was 10 months long, the stuff that they're talking about are things like one of the other nurses saying Lucy was supposed to be looking after this baby, but she kept coming in to help the more vulnerable babies because she was most experienced. And other things like she wrote a testimony from the parents about how she wrote them a sympathy card, got them flowers, and when you actually ask people, okay, so what actually is this other evidence? Oh, there's loads of it. And it's just stuff like that I've said it before. If you had it in your mindset that she was guilty, you're taking the fact that she eats Fruit Loops for breakfast as evidence of guilt, when there just wasn't anything. I mean, I've said it before. They keep calling it evidence, and it's not evidence. It's just her doing. It's just anecdotes of her doing her job. Yeah, so you'll hear that argument a lot, and I mean, why do I know? Why have I read text messages about her organising going to salsa? I mean, why was the prosecution asking? Why have I heard the prosecution ask Lucy Letby about a text message that she sent to a colleague about joking about going commando? Why have I heard that? What has that got to do with anything? And it was 10 months of that. And this is why, when you ask someone, "Oh, what was the actual evidence?" There was loads of it. Okay. And about all of her text messages. Firstly, and things, she'd been interviewed, and I think she'd actually been interviewed. It was up to 30 times she had given interviews, and by now, and it's been a year since. By now, if someone had killed one person, let alone the 15, 20 or 50, I think it was originally that Brewery and Dewey Evans tried to push for, got whittled down to 25, then down to 15, then down to 7 or whatever. I just lost my train of thought. So her messages. You'd think by now there would actually, if someone had killed somebody, there would by now have surfaced some sort of evidence of a crime, and the more you look into it, the more you find that there wasn't any crime. But like I think we're there now. But I wanted to talk about. I've done a video before about the mudslinging that the BBC done against her, and I'm just surprised at how actually squeaky clean she was, because she had done 30 interviews or something, and there's very few clips out there that the police give of her interviews. I mean, there's nothing. You think they would have tripped her up by then and said, "Aha!" Or is she such a criminal mastermind? Probably not. And they got hold of her text messages again. She would have voluntarily given the police her phone and said, "There you go, you can have all the messages." And they would have downloaded all that, and that's how we learnt about her salsa dancing, which I don't really. Okay, but I'm surprised at just how squeaky clean she's been, and the hit pieces that the BBC tried to do, like with Judith Morris is always trying to do on her. It's surprising just how clean she is. I mean, I've said before, my sister's a nurse, and she's lovely. I mean, the other day she bought me the 2025 official Taylor Swift calendar, just because she saw it for sale somewhere and knew I was a Swiftie, and she just does lovely stuff like that all the time because she's a nurse, and it's in her nature to think about other people. Like I don't know Letby, but I presume, being a nurse, she's also of the same sort of, like that. She's not doing it for the money. She didn't go and study at university and get a debt, and go into nursing for the riches of becoming a nurse, or for the NHS, the glamour. And this hit piece by Judith Morris about, so basically someone had and I showed this to my sister. I said someone had sent her a text message saying, I'm currently watching a program called How to Get Away with Murder. I'm learning some good tips. And Letby replied, I could have given you some. And she says, I can think of 2 people you can practice on, and I will help you cover it up. I think they were talking about JRM and Brewery, I suspect. And then a bit later on, she calls him a knobhead or some grade A knobhead or something. And I showed that to my sister, and my sister went, "God, if they think that's bad, they should read some of my text messages." And I sort of stopped and thought, you know what? I mean, if someone got a hold of mine and wanted to put a bad spin on it, I would be a neo-Nazi terrorist or something with some of the jokes and things that I send to my mates and stuff about Jimmy Savile and and all that lot. And it goes. I'm just surprised at how squeaky clean she is. And another hit piece. Another hit piece that I don't know why the BBC are always trying to do hit pieces on her. There was one where where's it gone? The Letby. Okay, this was at the Thirlwall inquiry, and it was about where they said gossipy. Can't be there. Oh, it must be this one. Here we are. Okay. Gossipy way. The inquiry heard from a nurse who recalled Letby telling her about the death of the child in an excited and gossipy way. And this is the story basically. This is the hit piece, and the interesting thing about this, it says that Melanie Taylor, who said this, said she could not remember which baby's death Letby was referring to, but recalled how she spoke about it. So, I mean, are we using this as is this some sort of hit piece, or is this going to be, if this was brought up in court? I mean, I think it actually was. I can't quite remember. I'm not sure if I've got to those, if I've heard those transcripts. But I mean, they would have called this evidence. This would have been part of the overall whole evidence that they call. So, firstly, first and foremost, I would have made the story, nurse cares so little about her job that she can't even remember the baby's name that died. And now is the cutthroat bitch. Huh? Well, maybe not. But it's just an opinion on the way she would have said it. And so what? Yeah, so what? I mean, it's not proof of anything other than proof that the women like to gossip or something. But I'm gonna be armchair detective for a night. I don't normally do this sort of thing. But I've got here another hit piece that the BBC were trying to do, and it was about Letby could have accessed death reports. So Letby was moved off of the ward and into an administrative role because of the doctors were making these rumours, and they managed to get her off the ward and into an admin role. And it said here, okay, she basically, we think Letby had looked at what was going on the computer and found out that since she had left the ward, she found out there had been another death. And here we are. I'll just read it. Quote, she almost jumped down my throat really and said, there's been a collapse and a baby has been transferred out. Does that mean somebody else is going to be under investigation and I can go back to work? Question mark. She probably didn't say question mark. Now, can we not put being armchair detective? Can we not put A and B together here, considering we didn't know, she couldn't remember what baby she was talking about. Could it not have been Letby talking to Ms. Taylor in an excited and gossipy way, because it's just proved that it wasn't her fault that the babies were dying? How about that? But no, that's not mentioned anywhere. Like I say, it doesn't actually matter that somebody thought. It doesn't matter that somebody thought she said this or that, and it sounded like it was in a excited or got. It's not evidence of anything. I don't know. I don't understand the hit piece, but I'm just showing you that you can spin anything what way you like, and I'm just so surprised at how squeaky clean she is. She's been persecuted. She's come from a Christian family, and I'm not quite sure why the church hasn't spoken out about this. I mean, she'd probably be better off without the church's involvement with the amount of stuff that's going on with them at the moment, to be fair. But I am surprised that they've kept quiet. I mean, is she a saint? I mean, it has almost become, for those who are Letby supporters, as we call ourselves, rather than Luciferians. Probably better. Well, I'm not really a Letby supporter. I don't like this, the injustice. Like I say, it's people's natural. People naturally just want to correct the record and right a wrong. It has almost become like a religion, and it's divided people. The way a religion has, and I'm not quite sure in the end will we be able to reconcile things and forgive. I'm not there yet.